Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 3, Karma Yoga, text number 17 onwards. Yastu atmaratir eva syat atmatriptascha manavah atmanyeva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. Text 18. Naiva tasya kritenartho na kritene kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschit artha vipashrayah. Text 19. Tasmadasaktah satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hi acharan karma paramapnoti purushah. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. To understand the purport, the deeper meaning of these three verses, we have to look at the bigger picture. The purpose of human life is self-realization, God realization. Others things that we are doing, they are our immediate goals, but the ultimate goal is self-realization. And for that, in the previous podcast we discussed, Krishna has recommended the cycle of yagyas to gradually elevate ourselves from being a typical materialist to the most elevated spiritualist and attain the perfection of life. But what about those who have already achieved perfection? That means they have to stop doing prescribed duties. They have no need. They shouldn't engage in any prescribed duty. They can be free to do whatever they like, or they can just sit back and relax. So Krishna, throughout the Gita, at no point recommends that we have to stop work. So we keep working to attain perfection, and when we have attained perfection or perfectional stage of life, self-realized, then also we keep working, but for a different reason. And that is explained in these three verses. One has to work as a matter of duty, to inspire others on this path, because we might be very, very elevated and self-realized and not in need of performing further prescribed duties, but others will not understand why we have stopped performing our prescribed duties, and they are at a neophyte stage, so they will also give up their duties. So that should not be done. That will not be proper. We will not be inspiring them properly. So it is very important to have good examples in life and to be exemplary for others. So life of irresponsibility is condemned. So Krishna says, even if you are most perfect, still you continue to work to educate others, people in general, and keep doing your duties for the sake of it. And he gives the example of King Janak, and then later on he gives his own example as well. Text number 21. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattat ivetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. And why it is important to continue performing prescribed duties even after achieving perfectional stage? As I explained, common people follow those who have influence in society. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So everyone who has an influential position in society, who is in a leadership position, who is influencing even at least one individual. In that sense, all of us are influencers. We are influencing one or two lives, or many are influencing many lives. So we have a great responsibility to act properly and set the right example for others, because they will follow whatever we say, whatever we do. Like a mother is also given the position of a leader in the scriptures, a king, a guru. And there are so many people, everybody wants to be influencer nowadays, but they don't realize that they have a great responsibility to guide their people on the right path. So most of the times people keep using social media to impress others. But I read a very important line some time back, that do not use social media to impress others. Use it to inspire others. And that is the greatest service we could do. Doing something that will add value to their life, not just on a material platform, because a true leader, a true influencer is the one who sees that his subjects, his followers, do not just advance materially, but spiritually as well. That's a true leader. So we have to make sure we are giving this dimension to our followers without a doubt. Then we are a true leader. Otherwise, it is explained in the Dharma Shastra as a person who is leading others, who has influence over others. He has to bear 1/6 of the karma of his followers. And this has been a check and balance system made by the Lord, so that people who take up greater positions in society, they don't misuse it, because they know if whatever acts they perform, their followers will do the same. So if they don't behave properly, their followers will follow the same example. They will also engage in wrong activities, and 1/6 of their bad karma will come to the leader. So the leader, remembering this, remembers, okay, I must engage them properly. But nowadays nobody knows this principle, nobody cares. So there is chaos everywhere. But anyone, now whether we accept the law or not, the law is going to act. Non-acceptance of the law doesn't prove its non-existence. So it will act whether we accept it or not. So it's a great responsibility. So Gita is actually meant for all the leaders, all those people who want to be leaders or who already have a place in society. So it's a book that must be thoroughly read and understood by everyone, every educated person, and it must be taught to others, especially those who have influence in society, because there are lakhs and thousands of people maybe look up to them. In one go, how much influence, how many lives you can change. So Krishna gives the example of Janak Maharaj. He says, text number 20, Karmaneva hi samsiddhim astitha janakadayah lokasangraham evapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. And then the verses which I just read, 21, yadyadacharati shreshchas tat ivetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. So text 20 mein Krishna says, kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. King Janaka was a totally self-realized soul, but he did not give up his work. He had the duty of a king, and he continued doing his duty, and he guided people on the right path. He was not just making sure his subjects were advancing materially, but spiritually as well, and for that, he was leading them by example. Yes, he was handling a large family. He was the king after all. He was handling lakhs of people. There was diplomacy also involved, being the king. He was handling so many managerial things. And at the same time, he was also worshipping God. That way, people were learning that we are not just supposed to keep working on managerial issues or trying to earn more money or trying to be successful materially in other ways. We must also worship God. So that's how he inspired his people. So those who have position in society, they have such great opportunity to create an impact in society, especially when it comes to raising people's consciousness to God consciousness. All kind-hearted people like to do some welfare work, but most of the welfare work nowadays that is happening, it is happening on the bodily platform. Just give them some food, clothing, shelter, that's all. But we are not the body. Body is temporary. We are the soul. So therefore, complete welfare work means raising people's consciousness to God consciousness as well. Yes, give them food, clothing, shelter, that is the immediate need. But do not forget the eternal need. Therefore, we must do something that will connect people with God. It could be done through books, through lectures, through prasad, or through whichever way. If we we can do kirtan, let them hear the holy name of the Lord. If we start thinking in this direction, Krishna will give thousands of ideas, because he empowers us as per our desire. So Janak Maharaj was setting the right example, and it's an example for all the people who are living in this world, that okay, do your duties, prescribed duties, but don't forget to perform your eternal duty. Serve God also. That way, so many people who look up to you, they will be inspired to take up the path and to perfect their life as well. Text 22, Krishna gives his own example. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avatavyam varta evasa karmani. He says, O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems. Nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Why? Text 3:23. Yadi hi aham na varteyam jatu karmanyatandritah mama vartamanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. They will use it an excuse. Oh, Krishna also did not work, we will also not work. Our king doesn't do it, so why should we do it? So people who have a responsible position in society, they have a great opportunity to serve. They can create the maximum damage also in society if they are not living properly. So it's up to the leaders, to the guru, the king, to inspire their followers on the right path, and making sure that everyone is advancing spiritually. Otherwise, the whole civilization is only centered around material advancement. Only very rare souls are putting in that effort and trying to drive home a point that life is meant for spiritual realization, self-realization, spiritual advancement. Body, just take care as much as is required to keep it fit, but give more emphasis on the soul, because you are the soul, you are not the body. Body will be finished after some time. Don't put too much energy in something which is temporary, can be gone anytime. You are the soul, your needs are spiritual, you are a part and parcel of God. You must reconnect with Him. That's how we have been made. That's how you can be happy. And that's how you can be freed from the cycle of karma. All your problems can be solved. So this way, one has to understand. Krishna continues, text number 24. If I did not perform my prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. Utsideyu rime loka na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyam imah praja. So he's saying that he is the Supreme Lord, and if he doesn't perform duties, then the whole world would be destroyed, because everyone follows his path, his example. And that's why we see when Krishna was on this planet, even though he is the Supreme Lord, but he had appeared as the first cousin of the Pandavas. So whenever he would meet Yudhishthir Maharaj, Bhima, they were elder to him, he would bow down, he would touch their feet, he would touch Mother Kunti's feet, he would bow down to Bhishma, like that, because they were elder to him, setting the right example. So it's very important to have the right examples in life to follow, and to also be the right example. Like mothers, whatever they do, that's what children follow, not necessarily what they say. So the first and Foremost is that the mothers have to be exemplary in character. Whatever you want your children to be, you have to become like that, and they will follow your example. So if you don't give them that spiritual connect, how will they ever get connected? So you have to lead by example. Let them see you bowing down in front of the Lord, chanting His names, worshipping Him, going to the temple. And then you can also tell them, create that awareness. Gradually they will start following your example. Similarly, all the other leaders as well. So Krishna now comes back to the same theme, that therefore, Saktaha karmanni avidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktas chikirshur loka sangraham. 25. Text 26. Na buddhi bhedam janayed ajnanad karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yuktah samacharan. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Same point. We also have to continue working, but now we are not attached because we are way beyond that. But now we are working only to lead people, other people on the right path, and show them by our own example how, while working in this world, you can also achieve the ultimate perfection of life, that is self-realization. How to work, that should be shown, just like Janak Maharaj did. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness or God consciousness. We should not tell people, stop doing this, this is nonsense. Rather, better is you be the good example, and by your own example, how to live in this world, how to perform your prescribed duties simultaneously in a way that you're also increasing your God consciousness. That's how we inspire them. We don't induce them to stop work, because everyone has a false ego. If you tell them stop doing this, they won't do it. But when they voluntarily follow, and why would they voluntarily follow when they see someone working like them, but at the same time growing or elevated in consciousness and being so exemplary in behavior, in actions, in words, then they would want to follow that. But if we tell them stop this, they will not give up. But when they see somebody receiving higher benefits from his work, then they will definitely give up lower work, lower type of work in this material world, and they would also make an effort to follow that example. So the greatest example is, or the greatest service is, to be such an example that people get inspired by us, that they also want to connect spiritually. They also come forward to connect. They see the change in us, and they also want to change. That is the greatest service we could do, to inspire others on this forgotten path, to bring them to this forgotten path of God consciousness. So that's how we have to work, not just teaching them how to advance materially, how to make money, how to become famous. That's okay. That is dependent on destiny, that will come and go. Not every individual who tries will be successful. Destiny is also a bigger player. But rather, we should teach them how to become more and more God conscious while we are living in this world, while we are performing our worldly duties. How we can use our money, time, resources, energy, body to connect with the Lord. That would be the greatest service. Whether it's our children, our followers, our colleagues, our friends, whoever they may be. So, text number 27. Krishna just continues on the same thing, why we should not stop people from doing the kind of work they are doing, because they are controlled by certain modes. They won't accept. Everyone who is controlled by three modes, and all of us think that what we are doing is right, because all of us are under the three gunas. Prakritehi kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvashah ahankara vimodhatma karatahamiti manyate. Because the spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried by the three modes of material nature. The three modes have complete control over individuals, and they are making them dance, they are making them work. So it's very difficult to stop them from what they are doing. because the influence of the three gunas is very, very strong. That decides their level of intelligence, things that they like, dislike, association, body, community, the areas they are born, the music they like, everything is influenced by the three gunas. Discovering is very strong, so it's very difficult to stop a person from behaving the way he is, from doing what he's doing. Rather, let us just from a distance show them by our own example how there is some superior kind of work, there is superior happiness, and how we can work in this world and also use it or do it as an offering to God. That way they will be inspired. So the summary is, Krishna is encouraging all of us to be exemplary in our behavior, and in the sense that we don't teach our dependents to just advance materially but spiritually as well. He gave the example of Janak Maharaj and his own example, and not to give up our prescribed duties at any cost, even if we are very elevated, we are self-realized, attain the perfection of life, because the greatest service is to inspire other souls on this path, and that will be very, very pleasing to the Lord. How while working in this world we can also be of great service to Him. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.